What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Sawyer Valley, and today we will be reviewing the Outbound Flight books, which are Survivor's Quest and Outbound Flight. But before we get started, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Let's get into it. Alright, today we're doing something crazy. I'm actually reviewing each book separately instead of as a whole. So the background for Survivor's Quest is that it released in 2004 by author Timothy Zahn, and it was the first Star Wars book released after the New Jedi Order initiative, so kind of had a nice calm period to go into. And it was also the first Zahn book released after the prequels gave some context to the era, because back when he wrote everything else I reviewed, he just kind of mentioned it in passing, and it was wildly different from how it is in the actual prequel era, in the movies and in other Legends material of that time. And the background in universe is that it takes place in 22 ABY, so after 22 years after episode 4, which is about 2 years after Hand of Thrawn. And it follows the mystery of the Outbound Flight that crashed 50 years ago. And it's the last book in universe, like timeline-wise, before the Yuuzhan Vong invade. So it is a calm before the storm. And it's the first Star Wars book to really cover the way that Chiss ascendancy works. And it's just a snapshot, but I can't wait to learn more in the upcoming books that I will read. So the actual book, Survivor's Quest, follows Luke and Mara, a guy named Dean Ginsler, a commander from the Empire of the Hand and the 5th Chiss family, as they explore the wreckage of Outbound Flight. And along the way, they pick up this alien species called Gyroons, who turn out to be the Vagari, who are murderous slavers. And when they get to Outbound Flight, they figure out that it's not just a wrecked ship, there are actually survivors aboard. And everyone has to work together to defeat the Vagari because they kill anyone in their way who tries to prevent them from stealing one of Outbound Flight's dreadnoughts for their fleet. And I really enjoyed the bonus story at the end of this book called Fool's Bargain, and it follows the 501st Legion, which is Imperial Stormtroopers under the Empire of the Hand's command, and they're just on a mission, and it's really entertaining. It's nice to see a Stormtrooper's perspective. But this is the first book that I'm reviewing that I actually have a major complaint about, and that it is this book starts out so slow and boring. It starts out on their way to Outbound Flight, and it's just kind of a whodunit aboard the ship, but it's just mundane mysteries until they actually get to Outbound Flight, where it starts to actually pick up, and it goes from 0 to 100 really quick. And I think a really standout character in this book is the Ginsler himself, because his sister was a Jedi on the original Outbound Flight, and he has this big grudge against her, but over the book he learns to let go, and I think he's a really good character. That's about it. And now for background on the actual book, Outbound Flight. It was released in 2006 by Timothy Zahn, and it covers the actual story of the Outbound Flight mission that was first mentioned all the way back in Heir to the Empire, all of those months ago. And the background in universe, it takes place in 27 BBY, which is 5 years between episode 1 and episode 2. And it follows George Cardaz in the Chiss and the Unknown Regions, Anakin Obi-Wan Sabath, and Lorana Gensler doing Jedi stuff in the universe and actually aboard the Outbound Flight mission. And then a guy called Doriana, who's an agent of Palpatine trying to destroy Outbound Flight. And it's the first real in-depth look at how the actual Chiss ascendancy works. And I'm really excited to learn more about it in the next books I will read. Outbound Flight, I think this book is very masterfully done. Timothy Zahn has this style of writing where he has zero wasted words. If something is mentioned earlier in the story, even in passing, you think it's no big deal. It will come back later. Every little character detail, every little object that he mentions comes back, and he is a master at tying the whole book together. And I really enjoyed Sabath's personality in this book, because when we see him in the Thrawn trilogy, he's just an evil, crazy guy. So it's nice to see him go from, or it's interesting to see him go from Jedi to the point where he would be in the Thrawn trilogy. And in my opinion, the correct order to read these books is Survivor Quest and then Outbound Flight, because it kind of gives the original trilogy, prequel trilogy vibe of you see how it ends up, and you're left with the mystery of how it even got to be that way. And I think it also, if you read it that way, it doesn't spoil the major twists of Survivor's Quest. And yep, there's also, since this book takes place so far in the past, it's a much younger Thrawn than has ever been seen, and I think it's a really interesting look at the character, because even at his young age, he's still he's an old soul, very cultured, and very intelligent depiction of him. So, for my personal ranking of these two books, I'd say Survivor's Quest is about an 8.5 range. The book is high quality. It is Timothy Zahn writing the book. I mean, come on, he's a stupendous writer. But really, really slow, snail's pace opening that does not do a good job at pulling a reader in. Outbound Flight, it's on par with the rest of his work. Give it a solid 9 to 10 range. Great book. Highly recommend. Very interesting. But the one thing that's missing from Outbound Flight, I say, would be, I don't know if there's an in-universe explanation as to how Sabath goes from a dead Jedi, completely mutilated from Thrawn's attack on Outbound Flight, to a just functional clone in the Thrawn trilogy who's just a little kooky crazy. I would have liked to see how that happened in the book, but overall still great read, very entertaining. Plan going forward, recording this late at night in March. It's almost my birthday. Yippee! And I'm getting a couple books for my birthday. So the plan going forward would be mixing it up a little bit. I was originally going through Timothy Zahn, everything in order, skipping Scoundrels because I frankly don't see a point. Not very interesting concept to me. But now I'm mixing that order up just a little bit because it's really close to my birthday, and I will be getting books faster than when I originally intended to be on my reading timeline. So the next video I will post will be the first Canon Thrawn trilogy review. And then after that, I will go back and do Allegiance and Choices of One, the Mara Jade duology and Legends. And then I'll go back into canon and do the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. And from there, who knows what'll happen, who knows how soon it will come, but I guarantee you I will read again and I will be coming back. And yeah, that's about all I have to say about these books. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Yeah, I'm out of here.